Assalamu alaikum, welcome to English Literature with Aisha Noor, and today I am back with a video on the summary of Eve's diary. Before starting, I would suggest you to must visit my channel and to see the other two videos on Eve's diary that I have posted, because in one video I have explained the plot of Eve's diary, and in the second video I have explained the themes, short summary, and the characters of Eve's diary story. Okay, so let's begin. A detailed summary of Eve's diary. The link to that both videos is given in the description. Mark Twain's hilarious short story Eve's Diary was published in 1905 in the Christmas issue of the magazine Harper's Bazaar. And secondly, it was published in a volume named Their Husband's Wife. The story is written as a collection of diary entries by Eve in the first person narrative. When Eve was created in the paradise in Eden Garden, second day she started writing a diary. What she experienced, what she thought, what she saw. So it was the first person narrative diary experienced by Eve. So coming to the text, Samuel Langhorne Clemens, that is the original name of Mark Twain. Mark Twain is the pen name of Samuel Langhorne Clemens. Commonly known by his pen name Mark Twain, is arguably one of the greatest American novelists of all the time. His other two novels, one is The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and the other is The Adventures of Huckleberry Finns, being a fundamental presence in virtually all reading lists of children's literature in America and beyond. So let's start the summary of Eve's diary. The diary begins on a Saturday, a day after Eve's creation by God. So Eve was created on Friday. She started writing her diary on Saturday. She begins recording her days in the diary as she has some instinct that tells her that these details are going to be important to the historian someday. She considered herself as an experiment and nothing more. Okay? Created, she has an instinct and idea that she is going to be important for the historians, and her writing and her diary would be important one day. Okay? And she thinks that she is an experiment. She is the main part of the experiment. She thinks that she must be an important part of that experiment, but nothing more. After that, she considers that she is like a caretaker and nurturer of the rest of God's creation. As she saw that around her there are many other creations like animals, plants, and she is thinking like she is the caretaker of all other things. Okay? Eve describes the world undergoing the act of creation, with God actively creating life and beauty all around. So in the second video, I have discussed a theme of beauty. So Eve is focusing on all the beauty around her. There are slight imperfections somewhere that can easily be rectified. Eve informs that the moon accidentally escaped its place the previous night, which saddens her as she is extremely fond of gazing at its beauty. She is certain, however, that the ones who found it would never return it. She would not have herself had she been in their position. So basically, here the writer want to tell us that Eve gazed at the moon each night, but one day, that moon completes its circle, and one day at the 14th date, you see the moon at its full form. So changing positions of beauty disturbs her. She wishes to have at least 5 or 6 moons and put stars in her hair, but she knows that it is impossible because of the great distance they are at. She has tried multiple times to catch them, to catch stars, and has failed. Too tired to go back home, she sleeps nestled amongst tigers who live on strawberries. Despite never having seen one before, Eve is instinctively aware that the stripped animal before her is a tiger. She confesses having a weakness for pretty things, but has difficulty grabbing them due to her inexperience in judging distance. She also comes up with a new axiom: the scratched experiment shuns the thorn. Even then encounters Adam, whom she calls the other experiment. So finally, in the Eve's diary story, we have reached the point where she is meeting Adam. She follows Adam all day and she calls it the other experiment. Okay, as she found that Adam is created as she was created, like they have same looks, they have their same creation, that she's watching other animals and other plants around her, and they're not like humans, but Adam is like human. As Eve is human and Adam is human, so Eve is thinking that if I am an experiment, Adam must be another experiment. Okay, so she is so attracted toward that reptile. Initially, she is afraid of getting caught. She keeps growing bolder and follows him openly. So, Eve is following Adam, securing him into climbing a tree. She is annoyed at Adam resting upon on a tree all day, as Adam is always on the trees, climbing, eating, everything. So, she is annoyed at him and wonders if he ever does anything else. She also writes delightedly that, contrary to her previous expectation, the ones who got the moon returned it, surprising Eve with their kindness and honesty. So, here you have to note that Eve is saying the ones who got the moon returned it. So, when she lost the moon, she didn't actually lose the moon. Moon was just changing its size. So when the next day moon must have appeared, and the Eve thought that the ones who got the moon returned it, surprising Eve with their kindness and honesty. Eve is thinking that Adam was created after her, or maybe something like that. Eve wants to show her appreciation, but as annoyed by Adam's lack of enthusiasm or initiative, she considered him low, crude, unkind, and horrified at his attempts to catch fish before she shoos him away, disgusting her with his lack of compassion for the tiny fishes. However, his use of language thrills her, as she has never heard anybody speaking other than her. This rekindles her interest in him as she loves to talk. Throughout the next week, she tries to hang out with him, making most of the conversation as Adam is shy. So, here you can see that Eve is enthusiastic, initiative, and active. She loves to talk. She is extrovert, while Adam is shy and he has no enthusiasm at all. Both spend time together. Adam appears more comfortable in Eve's presence, while she constantly tries to be useful to him, to increase his regard for her. So Eve is trying to impress him. She spends her time naming every new species that are being created, having taken this responsibility over from Adam, who is not good at it. Unlike him, Eve has a connection with animals and nature that helps her name them accurately the minute she sees them. Adam admires her ability, which flatters and delights her. So, after that, we see that the next Thursday, however, Adam keeps avoiding her without an explanation. So, first of all, we see that Eve is created. After that, she is in love with nature. Then she sees Adam. She is in love, in she likes Adam basically. She tries to impress Adam. Adam is feeling comfortable in her company. And to see this, Eve is also comfortable. After that, Adam is avoiding her without any explanation, leaving her confused and lonely as she is beginning to fall in love with him. Of course, when Eve was in love with him and then Adam started avoiding her, it was confusing. When she goes to see him and clarify things, he ignores her, causing her to experience sorrow for the very first time. Now the Eve is feeling sorrow. She is feeling sad. Happiness returns in the next few days as she spends her days eating apples, despite Adam's warning that they're forbidden and may harm her. However, Eve is desperately in love with him and ignores the possibility of danger to please him. She tells him her name, but it doesn't elicit a response, hurting her feelings. She perceives his reticence, which makes her think of him as unintelligent and sensitive about his lacking. However, she considers values contained within the heart to be the most important virtue. So here she is feeling sad and she saw her shadow in the water and she thinks that the shadow is her sister. Then she is hurt and irritated when Adams does not appreciate her attempts to decorate herself with flowers. Actually, Adam don't like the nature. She does not value the natural world and thinks that it is a mark of human superiority, an attitude that Eve mocks. One day she accidentally discovers fire. As Eve have so much enthusiasm and she likes to discover new things. So one day she discovered fire, letting the fire burn down a significant portion of the land around her. As she marvels at the destructive, sublime beauty of the fire around her, she hopes that someday it would be put to use. As always, Adam is unable to identify it and has to ask her for an answer. Evidently irritated about his lack of knowledge compared to hers, the next few days he is distant. Adam is thinking that Eve is so much full of knowledge. One of the reasons for this being Eve's repeated warnings regarding going to the fall. Ever since the fire, she has discovered the emotion of fear and tries to prevent Adam from going anywhere that scares her. Adam, however, not having discovered this emotion yet, does not understand. In the next part, we have the Adam's diary. Now the narrator is changed. Now the narrator is Adam. He says that she is all interest, eagerness, vivacity. The word is so her a charm, a wonder, a mystery, a joy. She can't speak for delight when she finds a new flower. She must pat it and kiss it and smell it and talk to it and pour out endearing names upon it. Adam is saying this about Eve. Additionally, she finds colors exciting and intriguing, her fascination with them irritating Adam. He would prefer her to be quieter and more stable, allowing him to look at her and admire her beauty. He notes her interest in every animal she encounters, even the ones he is indifferent towards. Her antics range from trying to make a pet out of a brontosaurus and using a colossus as a bridge. He confesses everything that her curious, questioning spirit attracts and influences him. He also notes that animals are drawn to her, like they share an instinctive affinity towards her, as she does to them. The narrative shifts back to Eve's perspective again, depicting her spending time amongst nature and traveling with animals to escape the loneliness that comes from the unwelcome treatment that she receives from Adam. So, Adam is not doing justice with Eve. The writer wants to say this indirectly. The animals all talk to her, and some are even able to understand her, even though she can't understand their language. This makes her ashamed of her inadequacy as the principal experiment. She resolves to learn to communicate with them. She has a scientific temperament, preferring to test out theories and hypotheses instead of just coming up with one. So she gathers considerable knowledge about natural world through her experimentations. She believes the purpose of her existence is to be of finding out all the secrets hidden in the world. Next part is the sudden transition to the post-lapsarian life of Adam and Eve with the entry titled After the Fall. Eve misses the Garden of Eden and its breathtaking, encanting beauty and purity. But on earth, she has Adam and is content with their love for each other. She loves him not for any of the other desirable qualities that she admires, his strength, his handsomeness, his chivalry, or graciousness. She understands that love is not rational, and her love is primarily an attraction of her sex to the only existing members of the opposite sex. She loves him because he is hers, and he is masculine, complementing her femininity. The final entry in the diary is titled 40 Years Later, where a dying Eve prays that she and her beloved husband may welcome death together. This prayer, this longing will last till the time that love exists between a man and woman, and it shall be named after her. However, realizing that one of them has to die first, she chooses to die before Adam as she thinks she is weaker and needs him more than he needs her, making her life meaningless without him. At her grave, Adam inscribes, "Wheresoever she was, there was Adam." Thank you so much. If you want to get the notes of this, let me know in the comment box and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you so much.